What's up, everybody? Welcome to the premiere episode of Bot Stoppers. You heard me right, Bot Stoppers. How are we gonna stop these bots? I don't know if that's gonna be the catchphrase or what, but yeah, I'm super excited about it. Those of you that have been following me for a minute have heard me talk about it, and I'm just sitting here today. I was sitting at my computer. I finally got all my assets up. See, look at this nice little border over here. And I was like, I'm just gonna pull the trigger on it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna press record. I'm going to follow my own advice as a podcaster, starting a new podcast, and just whatever gets between you and that record button, clear it out of the way and hit record and just go. So I got a fantastic premiere show for you today. We're going to lay out what the format of the show is, what the idea and the philosophy behind the show is, and where we're going from here. And I got big visions, big ideas for the platform and all kinds of things, okay? So I'm converting everything to the Rebunked News Network. So it'll feature episodes of Rebunked News. It's going to feature Bot Stoppers, might have some other contributors. Big visions going into 2026, so I'm super excited. So this is Bot Stoppers, okay? This is a new show, new format, new ideas. And what we're going to be doing is zeroing in and focusing on probably the biggest topic that's at the forefront of everyone's mind, AI, robotics, and the great robot Terminator takeover that's just on the horizon. So, and then, of course, what we can do about it, how we as civilians can arm ourselves and prevent such a thing from happening. So the idea for this show came, I was talking to some friends, and the idea being that there's so much in the world of AI, robotics happening right now, it's hard to keep up. And you can really, for me, I've been keeping tabs on the state of the technology via the different AI art generation platforms, whether it's, Sora? Yeah, Sora, Grok Imagine. These are revolutionary tools. These are revolutionary tools that we're already starting to see proliferate into the culture. So many Instagram posts, TikTok videos. I'm not really on TikTok very much, although I'm going to have to start leaning into it and using it. Might as well. You know, these platforms are there, and we can use them to our advantage. And so I'm a believer in using their systems against them. Even being here on YouTube, it's like, hey, YouTube, nice to see you again, okay? I feel like this could potentially be a YouTube-friendly show, which is amazing. That's always been my dream as a podcaster, is to have a show that's actually YouTube-friendly. So I think we might be able to operate within the confines of the terms and service of YouTube, and we're going to get along great, YouTube. You and me, we're going places, okay? Anyway, so we were talking about the state of the technology, and just like, okay, so what are we going to do about it? I know within our community, there's a lot of discussion. I know I have several friends, a lot of colleagues, a lot of people I know and trust who refuse to use AI, refuse to even use ChatGPT. And I totally get that. And we'll get into all that because there's AI, there's large language models. All of these are new emerging technologies that have really taken up the entire landscape. And I think that as we move forward into the future, it's going to shift all the way over to these types of tools being used primarily. And a lot of the old systems are going to be phased out. Now, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. And I think that there's a lot of danger on the horizon. I've heard Elon say there's about a 80% chance that AI will be integrated into human daily life in a positive way. And there's a 20% chance it might destroy everything. So those are shocking statistics. If you were a gambling person, would a person take those odds? I don't know. I don't know if I'd take those odds. But while we still have some say in the matter, while we still have an opportunity to be free humans, I feel like it's at least worthy of opening a discussion, opening a dialogue around these topics and seeing where it goes. Now, Bot Stoppers, okay? You would think that initially this is the philosophy of ending AI, stopping AI, okay? Now, that's not my position. I actually use ChatGPT all the time. Right now, I'm working on building a videography business, media production, management, social media, like a lot of different components fall under that umbrella. I'm going to be, it's been a very promising soft launch here these last few weeks. I'm very excited about it. Now, just in that field, a lot of the digital creation, whether it's relying more and more on AI tools. So I think that as the technology progresses, people are going to be left behind who don't adopt at least the use of these tools into their practice. Now, I might have just lost a bunch of listeners right there by saying that, but I think it's true. Now, I've been using ChatGPT to help me build my business. I've gotten a roadmap for my business. I've gotten offers, because I'm coming into a new industry, learning about how to make my offer, okay, as a digital creator, somebody who's offering services to companies. Like my target customer base is going to be like businesses who are looking to create brand promo videos for their website, content for their social media. So coming from the construction, home repair side of things, that's been my full-time thing for many years now. I'm used to going to a job, taking a look at the job, looking at the scope of the job, getting measurements, and then coming up with a bid and giving them a bid for that job, and the customer will either accept it or not. So with the videography side of things, it's a little bit different because I have my offers. These are my offers. You get X number of videos per month. That includes 1 long form, 5 short forms, and there's add-ons to that. Do you want me to manage your social media for you? Do you want me to manage your Facebook, Google ads, stuff like that? So I have offers. I have packages that I sell. So you can just click and say, I want that offer right there. So it's a different way of monetizing my offer, different than what I'm used to. So I've used ChatGPT to help me refine my offer, to help me refine these things and come up with a roadmap, strategy. And when it comes to a lot of the business acumen stuff, I don't quite have a lot of that in place, even though I do have a lot of it intuitively. There's actual formal things that I need to know. I recently had to create an LLC. I had to go through the process of getting an EIN number, just filling out those forms. It's useful to have a sidekick walking me through that process. So before, it was a very ambiguous thing. How do I start a business? How do I start an LLC? I was able to utilize these large language models, and I'm not going to call them AI because I do believe that there's a difference between artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, Grok, which are these large language models, okay? So we'll get into all that as the show progresses. Many of you may have seen some of my previous episodes on consciousness. I'll refer you back to one of those episodes. Fascinating stuff. And it brings into a lot of philosophical questions about the idea of whether artificial intelligence, in the purest form, the way they characterize it as a sentient, thinking organism, whether that's even possible. And honestly, I don't think that can ever be achieved to the degree that they say, okay? The whole idea of like being able to create the infrastructure to where you can upload your consciousness to some sort of matrix type metaverse or something like that. I don't believe that's possible. I don't think our God-given consciousness can then be transferred to some digital matrix. That's just insane to me. That just doesn't make any sense. Maybe that secret will be unlocked someday, but I don't believe that that's possible. And I believe anything that they sell you in the future as being a potential true artificial intelligence, like an AGI, a general intelligence, an artificial general intelligence that they try to sell to you as actual living sentience, is going to be fake. And a lot of people are going to fall for it, but I just don't think that threshold can ever be crossed. So much to get into on that topic, but we're going to have fun with it, you guys. We're going to talk about, as we move forward, any new developments with AI in general, with robotics, because it's scary stuff. And some of it's kind of cool. Some of it's amazing. But I really feel like as we move forward with this, we really just need to dial it back and just kind of study what's going on here. Study and learn. And learn how we can use these tools for our own enrichment and autonomy. I think that's a very, very important thing. What I was saying earlier is that I've been kind of tracking the state of the technology through these graphical arts, animation, photo generative systems. Now, it's funny because I've seen recently some animations, some like AI generated animations recently that were made like 2 years ago, right when this first started coming out, like right when people began to have the ability to create AI animations or take a photo and then have an animation off of that photo. And it's so interesting to see because they used to be so primitive looking by today's standards. Like some of the new content coming out by Sora, by OpenAI, is 100% indistinguishable from reality. Now, there is still that slight uncanny valley where you can just tell, just the way the characters talk. Like, let's say it's like a photo of like a person, like some news broadcaster sitting at a news studio desk talking. You can tell just by their vocalization, the mannerisms. There's still an element that is signatory to AI, that you can tell that it's AI. But it's come so far from those early animations where it's kind of all wavy. It's almost dreamlike, you know. It's just kind of like not at all reality based. You can obviously tell that it's a computer generated image, but it's do you remember that? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the early, like the 2 year ago animations, they had a very distinct look. And then just, it seems almost at this point, like every month, there is some large leap forward in the state of the technology, almost weekly. There's some new thing coming out that's just revolutionizing the way that these things are being used. And of course, I'm under no illusions, and I feel like what's available to us in the public, the military or intelligence agencies or other shadowy figures out there have had access to this technology for a long time, and it's probably been used and deployed against us for a long time. Probably a large language model similar to ChatGPT has been in use for a long time. And let me know what your thoughts are on this, because I believe that in 2020, around 2020, maybe the end of 2019, there was a dramatic shift in reality in general. Okay. Prior to that, and 2020 and the events that happened, you know, the lockdowns and everything, that was a very turbulent, tumultuous, intense, crazy time. Okay. That really changed the game for everybody. But right before that, I don't remember it being this crazy, like in your face, insane of just psyops and nonsense and craziness. And I feel like so much of that was created out of somebody sitting at a keyboard and just generating news headlines. Like, okay, what, like they, for example, let's say they have a end goal of what they want to accomplish. And when I say they, it's like, you know, the puppeteers up at the top. Let's say they have something that they want to achieve. It's like, pave me the path. Give me 10 incidents that need to happen between now and then for that end result to be achieved. And maybe right now we're seeing a lot of those end results being actualized, perhaps. So I don't know. There was just a big turning around 2020, even outside of the the lockdown nonsense, that really just created a hyper reality. Reality turned insane, and it has not let up. Even though the lockdown era has kind of gone by the way of the dodo bird, it's kind of gone extinct by and large. That insanity and that the pitch and the intensity of the wildness has not slowed down a single bit. And so it's interesting how in 2020 that trajectory was kicked off, and we have not gotten off that crazy train yet. And I think that it's evolved. It's taken on different forms. Large paradigms have completely shattered, okay? Some of the biggest paradigms in the world have just collapsed, shattered, shifted, changed, and we're in the middle of one of the most fascinating times to be alive. I am grateful for being around at this period of time. The next 20 years are going to change everything. It's going to absolutely change everything. And I am very much the type of person that when these giant smart cities get rolled out and the brain chips become mandatory, I'll be the guy in the woods that live very different lives from those in the city, okay? I'll be one of those. I'll be with a lot of you out in the woods playing acoustic guitar around the campfire and growing food, barefoot. Whereas the rest of humanity will have evolved into a new species, basically. In their own words, they talk about this very often, about how the bifurcation will happen and there will now be two distinct species of human organisms on the earth, those who chose to make the transition and those that chose not to. So the question will remain, is there going to be dignity and rights still for the troglodytes living out in the woods? You know, we will be considered a subspecies, and we know how dehumanized subspecies are treated, so we'll see. But I want to start off by kind of explaining the philosophy behind the show here. And some of you have heard me talk about it a little bit, but I think it's important to lay it out in up front here. So BOTSTOPPERS is not to stop AI. It's not to be a protester or a Luddite, somebody who doesn't respect, appreciate, or utilize these tools, because I do. I use these tools for my own enrichment. If it's going to move me forward, I don't have a problem using them, okay? And I think I use these tools in a responsible manner that helps me achieve more freedom in my day, okay? I find myself taking shortcuts sometimes with it, you know, and I'm just being honest with you there, and I'm sure many of you can relate to that. But I look at it as a tool, and I think it's a valuable tool. ChatGPT is a damn valuable tool if you're a person who's trying to break out of the matrix, okay? If you're trying to start a business, if you're trying to gain more autonomy in your life, give it a shot. Like, I'm not sponsored by OpenAI on it, obviously. Maybe I should. Hey. No, I'm just kidding. But I asked ChatGPT, and maybe I'll show you this on a future episode. I just basically said, I want to make this amount of money in the next 2 years. What is the best way to achieve that? If you could do anything, what would you do? And it listed like 10 different business ventures. And now, this was a few weeks ago. I'd already decided that I was going to start. I've been actually working on this videography business for about a year now. And the number one thing it said was content creation for businesses in a marketing capacity. I'm like, okay, well, I'm already set up to do a videography business. And it said, okay, well, you are set up and positioned in probably the most valuable path towards achieving that dollar amount of money. And then it broke down month by month, week by week, every single measurable goal in order to achieve it. And it laid out a game plan and a roadmap and everything. And it's okay, you need to be doing this and this and this. And it's like, I will write you emails to send to potential clients. And this is your whole infrastructure for it just like laid it all out for me. And I'm looking at it, and there's stuff I can revise and tweak to make it more personalized. But then you can refine it even further and ask it, okay, I like this. Let's learn more about this. So it's a valuable tool, okay? So I feel confident in my ability to achieve that goal because I have a roadmap. I have a plan. I have certain measurable, attainable landmarks along the way, and I'm gonna try and execute it, okay? And if I have follow-up questions as I go, I'm gonna actually go to ChatGPT. I'm gonna ask the AI for help as I go, okay? So I'm using this tool for my own enrichment, freedom, autonomy, and I think that's a good thing. So, as the title here, BOTSTOPPERS, may imply, I'm not trying to stop AI. I'm not even trying to stop the robots, okay? But there is a very nefarious, sinister force lurking around the corner, and that is what we're trying to stop. And we're going to create awareness around it, and we're probably going to get involved with some activism. So here's where the whole premise kind of came from for the show. Now, you also, as you know, I'm a big Second Amendment guy. I believe in the rights of the citizens to form a well-armed militia. Now, we're not forming militias, okay? No militias. I'm not in a militia. I hope you're not in a militia. If you're in a militia and you're trying to get me to join a militia, no militias. No militias, okay? But that is the spirit of the Second Amendment, is having a well-armed population of citizens, and that acts as a check to the power of the government, okay? Now, my philosophy around this, around the Second Amendment, and around freedom in general is that I saw a meme, okay? You guys, many of you have probably seen this meme, classic meme template of like the little village. Let me see if I can pull it up here. You know what I mean? Where it's like the little village at the bottom of a dam. And, oops, no, not that. Yeah, there it is. So basically, this is the idea of, so you guys get to see my fancy second screen here. You guys ready? Boom. Okay, so this is the meme template where you have the little village at the bottom of a dam in a valley, and you have the dam itself, and then you have the water that's being held back by the dam, okay? So the way I analogize my understanding of the Second Amendment is you have at the bottom here in the little town, this is human freedom, okay? Human freedom all over the world, all over the entire world. And this collection of water right here, this river that's being held back, is tyranny, authoritarianism. And this dam right here, and this may sound like total boomer cringe, but this dam represents the American Second Amendment. Okay? Now, America is the only country in the world that protects the rights of the people to protect themselves by whatever means they choose, and currently the most effective way to do that is with a firearm. Now, a lot of these countries that don't have the Second Amendment, you can see there's been some recent incidents where it would have been nice if some of the civilians and the people at these tragedies would have had a gun, because a lot of lives would have been saved. All right? Now, what we know that we're up against a group of people who have been strategizing and planning a one world government, some sort of one monetary system, one religion, some sort of 1984 style totalitarian surveillance state. That's the goal, okay? And you can see them inching closer and closer to it all over the world, in Europe, Australia, even in China. So this is the ideal state. They can't have a bunch of free people running around with guns. Now, America is kind of too far gone because there's more guns than people here. And a lot of the people here have guns, and they value freedom quite a bit. So in that sense, if these totalitarian, authoritarian rulers and leaders throughout history, they have relied on brute force and violence to conquer and take what they want in terms of power. Now, that happens. That still happens in the world today. But it doesn't happen to the degree that it used to, because citizens who are armed have a balance to the power of a totalitarian government overrunning everything. Now, here in the United States, they wish they could just come out with a totalitarian, militaristic government and just march in and put a soldier on every street corner and kick in the doors of every single veteran or perceived threat to their authority and round them up, take them to camps, that sort of thing. If they could do it, they would. And they would have done it a long time ago. Now, you can't roll out this big plan of taking over the whole world and instituting a world government everywhere except the United States, because the United States is really the only place that has that Second Amendment protection. Now, these conquerors could go and they could conquer the whole world, but they know that they would have to fight America extra hard, and they're not ready to do that yet, okay? So the Second Amendment in the United States, I think, stands as a check to freedom everywhere in the world. The reason why they haven't rolled out this world government plan yet is because American citizens have guns. And so everywhere in the world, wherever you are, you can thank whatever degree of freedom you do have to the fact that the United States has guns, because this is a global, this is a worldwide plan, a realm-wide plan. And it's all about knowing your audience. Anyway, but so this is a plan that's all over the world. And so they have to find other means to subvert and rot America from the inside out. And I think that plan is pretty obvious to everybody at this point. But the fact is that we have a Second Amendment, and that's a very important thing. And so they can't just steamroll us with brute force. And so the world is free to a certain degree. Now, eventually, there's going to come a time where the authoritarian governments of the world are no longer going to rely on conventional weapons and soldiers. The conventional weapon of the U.S. military is the AR-15, M16, whatever you want to call it, right? Explosives, things like that. Traditionally, up until maybe the last 20 years, it's been planes, F-16s, warships, and special forces, guns, knives, and explosives. Those have been the tools of the American regime. Those have been the tools of any conquering entity anywhere in the world. And now, as you may guess by the format and the nature of the show, there is a new looming weapon system that I believe in the next 20 years is going to take over for the soldier. It's going to take over for the rifle and for the explosive. And that is, my friends, the robots, the drones, and the AI. So, therefore, I believe that the future of human freedom relies on the fact that we as citizens need to embrace the philosophy of the Second Amendment, but get ready to take it to the next level. Because in the near future, that totalitarian government that we stand today in opposition to by the fact that we have a well-armed population, that is going to be obsolete very soon. I believe that the robots that are probably, I'm sure there are underground military bases right now with millions of weapons-grade robots ready to deploy at any moment. They'd be foolish not to have that. I'm sure every government around the world has their own little robot army already in place with technology way more advanced than what we're going to look at today, which is really advanced, but they already have that in place and it's ready. So my argument is that someday the government will try a brute force takeover in the United States, and they are going to use robots, robot dogs, drones, and AI weapon systems in order to achieve that. Okay? Now, us, with our little 9mm and our 5.56 rifles and even a 30-06, I'm sure many of you have 30-06s out there, a bolt-action rifle, a 5.56 rifle, a 45 caliber handgun, these will no longer be adequate as a check to power. So I think it's very important now, today, to begin the conversation about what are we as civilians going to use or be allowed to use under the argument of the Second Amendment to act as a check to a tyrannical robot government takeover. And that's the philosophy of the show. We are going to be exploring, as we move forward, all kinds of creative weapon systems that we as civilians can use to fight against a potential robot takeover. And hopefully we won't ever have to get to the point where we're fighting, but I hope that at least by us having these weapon systems, then that will give the government pause before rolling out their Terminator robot takeover. Now, some of you are probably thinking, this guy's crazy. He's out of his mind. I don't think so, man. And I want to be very clear. When I say weapon systems, I'm talking about like EMP cannons, foam cannons that like stop a robot in its track, just water cannons to like short circuit them. Like right now I'm open to anything and everything. And as we move forward with the show, I will be interviewing different engineers and scientists and people in the firearms community and just getting ideas, bouncing ideas off each other. And eventually I would love to get to the point where we are actually testing out some of these weapon systems ourselves. I would like to get to the point where we're actually getting a Optimus robot and testing some EMP devices to see if this will in fact disable that particular model of robot. Like kind of like Mythbusters. I picture like the show Mythbusters. Remember that? How they'd go out into a factory or out into the desert and they would blow things up and do all this cool stuff. That's what I want to do with this show eventually, right? We'll get there. But I'd like to actually physically demonstrate some of these things. Can you imagine how cool that would be? Like once this Optimus robot comes out, I want to be the first channel that's out there blowing them up. Okay, we're going to buy an Optimus robot and blow it up. So you can help this journey. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and share the show. Take the show, clip it, share it on social media, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. And we're just going to come out the gate hard and just try and get this message out there. Okay, now, that being said, the government's probably not too enthused about civilians coming up with all these new weapon systems and stuff like that. So a big part of what I also want to be involved in is activism. Activism. Right now, a lot of what the military uses to, say, block drones, like drone blocking technology, EMP devices, those are not legal for civilians to have. So whatever the military uses for those purposes, we're not allowed to have. I would argue, under the Second Amendment, in this new era, it needs to be legal for civilians to have civilian use, next generation weapons that can defeat robots. That needs to be a thing. That needs to be a conversation. I've never heard anybody even bring this conversation up. In the next 5 to 10 years, we need to have people in Congress, representatives of ours who are willing to have the conversation about making next generation robot defense technology available to civilians. That needs to be at the forefront of the conversation, you guys. Like, we see how crazy Palantir is getting. We're seeing how crazy all of these robots coming out of China are getting, and we are defenseless, okay? I just want to start the conversation. I'm not trying to, ruffle any feathers too much. I'm not trying to do anything illegal. I would never advocate for anything illegal. Owning any weapon that you're not legally allowed to own. I personally don't own anything that is illegal. I never would. You can come search. Well, I'd rather you not search me, but you could totally come search me if you want. It's all legal. It's all legal, folks. I would never own anything that isn't 100% legal because that's not something I'm willing to do. But what I think we need to do, what I know we need to do, is we need to move the needle towards broadening what is considered legal for myself to own, for you to own, to protect your family against a tyrannical robot takeover. Of course, it sounds crazy far-fetched. How many movies have you seen about it? Every time you see some video on X or Instagram of some new crazy robot coming out of China, and half the time it's like AI generated. But that's the thing, is like nowadays it's so hard to tell. We're going to take a look at a bunch of clips today. We're going to look at some robots today. And at first you're like, oh, that's obviously AI. And then when you do some research, you're like, oh, no, that's very, very real. And this is primitive. We're in like I'd say we're a little bit past the Atari stage of robot technology. We're in like the NES system, the original Nintendo Entertainment System. We're a long ways from the PlayStation 5 or 6 or whatever they're on now. But we're very quickly approaching robotic technology that's inconceivable. And I'm sure they already have it. Like I said, I'm sure they have entire underground military bases filled with millions, if not billions, of PlayStation 5 level robots compared to our Nintendo Entertainment System robots. Okay? And that's the funny thing about it too, is that the current state of the checks and the balances is that the government supposedly has guns and Americans have guns. So we have the same type of weapon systems, and you can get the same type of weapon systems that the military has. You can there are ways to go about doing that. I learned it's legal to own a tank. I learned it's legal to own a tank. Like a Panzer. You can have like a Panzer tank. Anyway, see what I'm saying though? So there's like a 1-to-1 in terms of the weapon systems they have and the weapon systems we have. Sure, we don't have F-16s, as Joe Biden very famously reminded us, but we do have comparable firepower across the board. The problem is that we can't, unless someone comes up with a solution to this, we can't have our own personal protector fighter robots. Like, I can't just have my own personal defense robot that is now programmed to fight the military robots, because all it would take is for the military or whatever to hack that robot, and now all of a sudden it's coming after me. So I would never trust a robot in my home to be my personal defense robot. I need systems that will defeat robots, period. So that's the philosophy of the show, Bot Stoppers. Again, let me know. Leave a comment below. Another thing I want you guys to do is, if you know anybody who's working on technology like this, if you know anybody who has an interest in it, any engineers, scientists, inventors, weapons experts, anybody that you know that is in this sphere of conversation, let me know. Reach out to me. You can hit me up on X, on Instagram. I actually created, as you can see, that was another big sign that this show had to happen, is that I got bot stoppers on everything. Nobody taking it. So I got bot stoppers on X, Instagram, TikTok. I got botstoppers.com, which is going to be coming very soon. It's kind of a work in progress, but I just wanted to get the first episode out, and I'm going to try and get at least one a week out. And as things get crazy, I don't think there's going to be any shortage of content. I think if anything, it's going to be hard to keep up with everything. So I'm very excited about this. We're going to bring on guests. We're going to be highlighting and featuring so many different things related to the state of the technology and coming up with cool, awesome ways to defeat the tyrannical Terminator robot takeover. The tyrannical Terminator takeover. There you go. There's some alliteration for you. So let's get into it a little bit. Let's take a look at some of these dang pesky robots. But first, a little comedy. Now, I know that I made this argument the other day on Billy Ray Valentine's show, America Unplugged. Shouts to Billy. The thought kind of occurred to me. It's like, at this point, okay, so Trump is obviously just like selling the country out for scraps. Like, it's game over in a lot of ways, right? It's like, it's all downhill in a lot of ways, but maybe not. Maybe this is the 5D chess and I'm just not seeing it. But on its face, I'm like, oh my God. Like, just the Epstein thing alone. Okay, dude, what is this? And the only what I've landed on is that either the white hats are in charge and this is all a plan and it's going according to plan and everything's going to be fine and we're going to be saved and they're saving Israel for last and all that stuff, okay? Either it's that or they are intentionally, blatantly putting it in your face how much contempt they have for you, how much corruption there is, how little they regard for the citizens of the United States, how much they hate us, and how much of a complete joke the government is. They're putting it on Main Street. They're letting everybody know without any shadow of a doubt that the government is flawed, corrupt, beyond belief, to such a painful degree that it has to become self-evident to every single American. And I think they've done a really good job. Whether you're right, left, both sides are so disillusioned right now that they are all like, this government, like this, we can't go on like this. It's beyond repair. It's beyond anything. It's done. It's worse than it's ever been for everybody. So there has to be a solution, right? Well, so that's the problem. The reaction was was me just now. That is the reaction of everybody in the world. And then the whole United States is like, what is going on, dude? What? Why? Every day it gets worse and worse. That's the reaction. And then the solution, my friends, the solution that they have cooked up for you, that they've had sitting in a nice little package with a nice little bow on it this whole time, they're just waiting for you to demand it, is the idea of an AI-run government. Because AI is completely infallible. It has no opinions. It has no monetary incentive. It is completely non-judgmental. It's completely non-biased. And so therefore, they have to just make the government look so ridiculous that the people demand an AI government. And we're getting close to that point, folks. I bet you if they put it on the table in the next, what if like, okay, the 2026 election, they're like, listen, we got a proposal for you guys. Like, we could do this election thing again. Like, you know, there's been some problems on both sides, right? Problems on both sides. So how about this? How about we compile every single thing, every single document that's ever been proposed in Congress. We take every single piece of case law that's ever been established in the United States. We take every single political speech, every single campaign, every single thing that every politician has ever said anywhere, and we amalgamate that into one little large language model that then spits out the average of all of that, and therefore you have, just based on the law of averages, somewhere in the middle, the most average, perfect, equitable government for everybody. And it's going to be run by AI, and you'll have an AI president, an AI Congress, and they will instantaneously know how to fix every single problem. I bet you there's a large segment of the population that would be okay with that on both sides, because they're just like these humans that we call, I don't know if we can call them humans. I mean, I'm not going to go so far as to say lizards or reptilians, but you know what I mean. Demons? I don't know. I don't know what they are. Are they humans? I'm doubtful at this point that many of them are. Or they forfeited their souls, if that can be done. I don't know. I'm being hyperbolic. I don't necessarily believe in any of that stuff. But you get what I'm saying. Once a politician reaches a certain level, they almost cease to be human, because they've left all of their decency and every single thing that we consider human behind in order to perceive power, in order to pursue power and riches and all that stuff. So an argument could be made that we're just replacing these non-human husks of evil with a non-human husk of genius, superhuman genius, way beyond anything you little peasants could ever comprehend. So is there, I've heard that conversation for years, the idea of getting rid of judges and just having impartial AIs act as judges. They could just have it institute an entire AI government. I bet you in the next 20 years that will be on the table. And this show, Bot Stoppers, will be here to analyze it and make sure that stuff like that doesn't happen, okay? Like, they want to remove the human element of every single aspect of life because they believe that humans are bad, wrong, dirty, filthy, defective, old-fashioned, obsolete, and that there's a new iteration of what should be the primary species in the universe, and their job is to bring that about. So, is there going to be a AI government someday? Possibly. Probably. I would not be surprised if there was. I think Tim Dillon thinks there is. Let's see what he has to say about it.
Apparently AI, by the way, the only thing I'm sure of about AI, I'm not an expert, is that AI, as soon as we have robots running around this country, they'll all be pedophiles too. There's no one in power that will apparently just not be a pedophile. All these robots will be pedophiles. The 100% will deal with pedophile robots. Our first robot president will be a pedophile. I know that. It's the only thing I know. Our first AI robot president will absolutely be a pedophile. Here's Laura Ingraham.
Okay, there you go. See, exactly. Tim gets it. It's like, that's the thing, though, is that if we were to do an AI robot president, it would still be a pedophile. Because that's just the nature of it. Okay, funny, good one, Tim. I thought that was hilarious. That was from a few episodes ago, but I made a note of it. That was about a month ago. But that was episode 470. But I made a note of it thinking like that would be a hilarious way to start the show. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Now, as we move on, this is an interview with Elon Musk on Ted Cruz's podcast. Did you guys know that Ted Cruz had a podcast called The Verdict? And I'm sure he gets like millions of views or downloads. And it's like, dude, we need to put Ted Cruz out of business with this show. All right. So this is a conversation Ted Cruz had with Elon Musk recently.
Now, I guess my view, we're in a race to win AI. We're in a race with China. And my view is if they're going to be killer robots, I'd rather they be American killer robots than Chinese. How likely...
Okay, so there you go. The great arms race, okay? So Ted Cruz literally said, quote, unquote, and this is from a while back. You can see the Doge thing still. That was, this is back. Okay, so this is March. This post is March 18th, 2025. So this is a couple months into the recent Trump administration. So that's the classic argument of like, well, if Russia's going to have nuclear bombs and we have to have nuclear bombs too, it's the proliferation arms race of who's going to get there first. So Ted Cruz literally thinks that if there's going to be killer robots, I'd rather that they are American killer robots than Chinese killer robots. Now there's a valid point there. Okay. Again, I'm not even necessarily opposed to replacing our human soldiers with robots. Like, I'm willing to have that conversation. Like, honestly, I am. I'm not opposed to that. What if the future of warfare was just robots fighting robots and humans didn't need to die? Now, I don't know if we'll ever get to that point because sending the best alpha males off to die on foreign soil has always been a big part of the eugenic plan. So I don't know if they'll ever try and get rid of that. I mean, they'll find other ways to kill off all the cream of the crop of society as they do every 20 to 40 years. But in the meantime, if you want to have the conversation about robots fighting robot warfare, what if we just like set up the moon? Okay, like once they figure out a way to go to the moon, what if we just had like battle bots on the moon where we sent all of our robots? Like, let's say they do have a deep underground military base full of 1 million robots here in America and 1 million robots over in China. Maybe they have 1.5 million robots over in China. And we launch them all up into, quote unquote, space, up to the moon. Okay. And we have little craters. Each country gets their own crater or little section. We'll divide the moon up into territories. And then there'll be like the Chinese crater and the American crater. And then when we decide that it's time to go to war with China, we just have all the American robots and the Chinese robots fight it out like the old BattleBots show. And you just put it on Netflix and charge money for it to pay for the war. Genius. Okay, then no humans have to die. Why is it that we have to die for the wars of these psychotic people that are in charge? For the Ted Cruzes of the world. Why do we got to go die for the Ted Cruzes of the world when we could easily have gladiator-style robot wars on the moon? That's all I'm saying. Yeah, clip that. That's good right there. Right for you, Ted Cruz. There you go. Oh, let's see. Let's go back to that. Let's see what else he has to say. Let's see what Elon has to say in response to that.
Are we winning right now? Is America winning right now? And how likely is America to win the race for AI vis-a-vis China or anyone else?
For the next few years, I think America is likely to win. Then it will be a function of who controls the AI chip fabrication. The factories that make the AI chips, who controls them? If more of them are controlled by China, then China will win.
More.
Dude, he seems spagacked on something, dude. China will win. Okay, he's high. Whatever. So, all right. Well, what's up with these robots? Let's take a look at some of these dang old robots, folks. So look at this. Look at this. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, well, that's definitely AI. I mean, quite obviously. This is the Xpeng, Xpeng Iron robot. And this is from a post from Starboy. And I will tell you this. If you guys go to rebunked.substack.com, I'm still using the Rebunked Substack. That's going to be the Rebunked News Network, which the show will be under the umbrella of. Rebunked News Network, rebunked.substack.com. You can find the post about this episode that will have all of the links and the supporting documents. Go sign up there. And if you value my work, feel free to sign up for $5 a month, and you can help support my work as a member, which you'll get extra perks if you do too, and you'll be one of the cool kids. So thank you all those of you that do support me. We're going hard in 2026, folks, so I could use the support. And that's rebunked.substack.com for the supplemental sources and materials. So this is the Xpeng robot. And initially, I thought this was most certainly AI. I mean, there's no way this could be real. But let's take a look. It's a 10-second clip. Let's see this. Let's see this guy in action. Okay. So he's practicing his kung fu moves. And if you're just listening, you're going to want to go watch this. Look at that. Okay, now, like I said, this is the Nintendo Entertainment System version of robots. This is the primitive version. This is the 2025 version. And look at him. Like you couldn't defeat that thing in hand-to-hand combat. Although I'm sure you could. You shine a laser pointer in its eyes, and it will maybe get a little disoriented. But that thing will win in hand-to-hand combat, probably with almost, once they get like a few more iterations of this technology, it will be able to defeat any fighter on Earth, hands down. Okay. Now, already at this point, if I were to pull out an AR-15 and I would just empty a full magazine into that thing, would it stop it? Could it at least disable it? If I was good at aiming, could I shoot the arms off? Could I shoot the legs off? Let me know in the comments, where would you aim on a robot like that if it was coming at you? Would you try to disable its, and that's the thing too, is like, we have this anthropomorphized view of robotics, and a lot of us would be aiming for the head, shooting the head to disable it, or maybe the center mass on the chest. But if they were smart, they would put the brains of this thing maybe in the foot, because that's more likely the least likely spot where you're going to shoot the thing. So if I was developing this thing, I would put all of the computing power and the main central nervous system of this robot in the feet, because as a human, I wouldn't be shooting at the feet. So things like that, like, it's just little tactical things that we are going to become experts on the course of this show. We're going to learn everything about this robot. We're going to learn how it works, how it functions, how to disable it. Not on this episode. I'm not prepared for that this episode, but we are going to. You will be a more informed citizen, and you will be ready for the robot takeover when and if it happens. Okay. So, of course, like looking at this, I'm like, what? This has got to be AI, right? It's got to be AI. So I did a little research. I saw a couple articles. Now, this is from, let's just watch this. This is from channel DPC Cars, and they're talking a little bit about this new Xpeng Iron robot.
Xpeng's next-generation humanoid robot called Iron feels like the moment when science fiction quietly becomes ordinary life. When it walked on stage, the posture and balance looked familiar in a way that caught people off guard. That lifelike motion is not a trick. Iron is built around a spine-like core with bionic muscle groups, layered synthetic skin, and careful human proportions that make presence and interaction feel natural. The hands are the highlight. Each hand carries 22 degrees of freedom, powered by tiny harmonic joints that still fit inside a human-sized palm. Across the body, Iron totals 82 degrees of freedom, which is why it rotates, gestures, and shifts, weight the way people do. The intelligence stack is part of Xpeng's physical AI program. Vision language task and vision language action models coordinate what Iron sees and hears with how each joint moves, and an in-house compute platform delivers about 2,250 TOPS to fuse sensing, planning, and action in real time. Because the robot is meant to work near people, Xpeng chose a solid-state battery architecture aimed at safety and thermal stability. The idea is a simple one: power it safely and let it belong in human spaces. The internet
Power it safely. I mean, yeah, guys, simple as that. We're just going to power it up. It's going to be safe, very safe. Don't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying?
noise came from somewhere else entirely. After the reveal, many viewers insisted the gate looked too human, as if a performer were pretending to be a robot. The next day, He Xiaopeng ended the rumor in the bluntest possible way. With Iron powered on, he cut open the fiber skin on the robot's leg and showed the frame, actuators, and wiring. He also opened panels around the torso.
Okay, now that still could be like a one-legged chick. Kind of looks like a female body, right? That could be a one-legged chick. They could have busted now. I could be being deceived right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, they could have just busted out the one-legged chick for this psyop, but I don't know.
Torso to display the structure while Iron stood calmly. A conspiracy theory turned into a defining proof. Xpeng's deployment plan puts Iron where people will actually need it. Early roles are human-facing work such as reception, retail assistance,
tyrannical Terminator robot army,
concierge tasks, light security, and guided tours in museums.
Light security, not heavy-duty security. You wouldn't rely on these for any heavy security, like taking down the most well-armed population in the world. Wouldn't want that.
Or showrooms. Mass production preparations are planned to begin around April of 2026.
Damn, mass production, April 2026. You guys need BOTSTOPPERS. You guys need BOTSTOPPERS. Follow, like, comment, subscribe, share. We need this show, okay? We need this show to get out there.
With large-scale manufacturing targeted by the end of that year, and an open software development kit will let partners teach Iron new jobs. The competitive echoes were immediate. Elon Musk acknowledged Iron and suggested that Tesla and Chinese companies could lead the humanoid market, while many competitors in the West fall behind, coming from the person behind Optimus. That is both respect and a challenge. If Iron is the opening move, Xpeng will compete through lifelike motion, strong safety choices, and a services-first strategy. Beneath the synthetic skin and social-ready face is a straightforward philosophy. Build the body well, power it safely, give it practical jobs, and let developers add more.
Oh, Margot heard a noise. Margot's over there barking. So yeah, so we see, and it's funny too, in their demonstration here, they didn't do any, like, they didn't do it like, you know, doing the two-step or doing anything, you know, like sweeping or doing light household chores. No, it's doing Kung Fu. It's doing Kung Fu. It's already a black belt in Kung Fu, so, you know, it is what it is, folks. So, Okay, let's go over here. And this is not sure if we're going to watch the whole thing, but this is a fun video that I saw called How to Disable a Robot Dog If It Attacks You. So kudos to this channel, Hoog. They got 1.2 million views on this about 8 months ago. In fact, I think we played this on Grand Theft World, but let's watch a little bit of this training video about how to disable a robot dog if it attacks you.
Rogue autonomous weapons are caused by misaligned artificial intelligence. They are like ordinary weapons, only many times more powerful. They are highly intelligent and are difficult to outrun. They can navigate complex terrain. They can track and identify targets using thermal imaging and facial recognition. These are the three dangers. Surveillance. They gather valuable intel. Sabotage. They destroy vital infrastructure. Strikes. They can be deadly dangerous. You can protect yourself and your family. Later on, we shall show you what steps to take. To accomplish their objectives,
There you go. See, he was shooting at it with a AR-15, but is this leading you down in the wrong path? I guarantee that's one of their primary focuses in research and development is they're like, #1 on the list, guys. Make sure that it can withstand 308, 5.56, 30-06. We're going to call it the Charlie Kirk model. This one can withstand a 30-06. There will be no exit wound in this robot. That's the goal.
Can be deployed by air using vampire drones. They can be equipped with mobility features.
Hold on. We can't skip over that. Vampire drones dropping off the robot dogs, folks.
We shall show you what steps to take. To accomplish their objectives, they can be deployed by air using vampire drones. They can be equipped with mobility features like a robotic arm or outfitted with one of these weapon systems: an assault rifle, a sniper rifle, an anti-tank rocket launcher, or a flamethrower. Although they hunt alone, they can also be deployed.
I mean, kind of. We got to figure out how to like jailbreak and make it so that these things are 100% friendly. How do we do that, you guys? How do I get a robot dog with a flamethrower? I mean, that does sound awesome. I'm not going to lie. I am going to... but see, then I'd be vulnerable for my own robot dog. See, Margot would never turn on me. She's laying there, enjoying the day. She would never turn on me. How do we infuse the robot dog with the same loyalty that Margot has? I don't know. I don't know if that's possible, but I do want a robot dog with a flamethrower.
Deployed in a pack for maximum damage. This is called a swarm. A swarm can communicate and coordinate to achieve its objective: killing sentient life. If you are being attacked by quadrupedal autonomous agents, these are the sounds you
Quadrupedal
must...
autonomous agents. That's great. I think this video's kind of satire. I think. I mean, I already get that sense. But well done. Well done.
recognize. First, if an attack is coming, then you will hear the hum of drones in the sky. They sound like this. Next,
Kind of.
their mechanical movements and operating sounds. Although quiet when alone, if a swarm is on the move, they sound like this.
Okay, this is definitely comedy satire, but I'm here for it.
You may also hear the swarm communicate, like this. The heat signature of a robot dog is the same as a rabbit's, making them difficult to detect with thermal imaging. But if it is dark, mounted optic lasers or glowing sensors can be seen with the naked eye. If you make visual contact with a robot dog in your neighborhood, please alert the authorities. Anytime robot dogs...
See, that's the problem, though, is that what we're trying to defend against is a situation where the robot dog is being deployed by the authorities. There's no more authorities. You are your own authority, and that's actually true in any given moment of any given day. There is no authority over you. You are your own authority. You're the only one that can protect your freedom and your safety. No government will ever give a crap about your freedom or safety. Ever. That's on you. And that's why we're here having this conversation. If a robot dog comes to your neighborhood, there's no authority. At that point, if there are robot dogs showing up at your house, there's no more authority. That's the moment where people will realize, maybe for the first time, that they are their own authority, their only authority besides God. There's God and then me. There's no robot dog between me and my authority. There's no government between me and my authority, okay? I get my life energy from God, and I give thanks to God every day for everything. And it's like, that's my authority. That's it. And I'm not just LARPing when I say that. There's no robot dog that's going to stand between me and my authority. I'm just saying, when the robot dogs are at your door, the authority's gone. There's no more authority, okay? Or the perceived authority, I should say. People will wake up in that moment and be like, oh, crap. I'm the only one that can save me. I just hope that people adopt that mentality before the robot dogs get to their doorstep.
Are identified, warnings of the attack will be broadcast through a text message, warning and sound.
Yeah, right. There's not going to be warning or sound.
When you hear any of these sounds, you and your family must take action at once. Do not stay out of doors. If you are caught out in the open, remember the acronym, race cars travel fast. Run, cover, trap, fight. If running is possible...
That's great. Hey, comedic tool used right there. The acronym that they tell you to remember, the acronym is longer and more complicated than what the words actually mean in the acronym that's trying to get you to remember.
Put out in the open.
That's hilarious.
Remember the acronym, race cars travel fast. Run.
Which is like race cars travel fast. That's just funny.
Cover, trap, fight.
It'd be a lot easier to remember run, cover, trap, fight. Race cars travel fast. Anyway, maybe, I don't know.
If running is possible, always choose this option first. Remember to stay low. Break visual contact with cameras or sensors and maintain your distance until you reach cover. When looking for cover, remember the acronym, stop my hat, thanks. Staircases, moving surfaces, holes, and thin places.
What was it? Cover, stop my hat, thanks. That's so fun.
Staircases, moving surfaces, holes, and thin places. Staircases or ramps can be difficult to climb. Stack various objects on them to make it even more difficult. If the robot dog does not come with an arm, use elevators. If it does, avoid them.
Oh, checklist. We're going to have a ooh, that'd be kind of fun. I'm going to write this down. Come up with a checklist on how to, when you're fleeing robot dogs, you got to come up with a checklist. Does it have arms? Yes. No. It's like a flow chart. Does it have arms? Okay. We're going to do a checklist for escaping robot. Okay. This is hilarious. I might have to do a social media post on this. You guys saw it live on the air. Robot dog. Checklist for escaping robot dog. That's good. Does it have arms? Question mark. Okay.
If possible, climb down holes with ropes or ladders. Lastly, create hard-to-follow paths by using tall, thin beams, like spanning the gap in a stairwell. A robot dog's leg width is 500 millimeters. Look for objects with a width of at most 400 millimeters. If you are caught out in the open...
That's not bad advice. Of course, the checklist would be, does the robot have a 500 millimeter stance? I don't know.
During a robot dog raid, find a safe house closest to you and barricade yourself inside. Once secured, you might be shut in there for days. But the world goes on, and deadlines are looming. But you're away from your desk with no options except to risk your neck. If only you had access to your computer with all your project files. With any desk, you can get back to work, no matter what situation you find yourself in.
Is this a commercial?
It lets you be able to move your motherment to feel like
oh, it is a commercial. That's hilarious.
Job. See if the threat will pass. If it does not pass,
that's hilarious.
If you have created ample distance and have found cover, good job. See if the threat will pass. If it does not pass, you must trap it.
Ooh.
Now is the time.
Now we're talking. Now we're in BOTSTOPPERS land. Trapping them damn robot dogs.
Your anti-QRA survival pack. This mobile toolkit contains tools to help you trap, confuse, and evade your attacker. We will show you how to construct one.
Yes!
Never leave the house.
Oh, I have to sell anti-robot. Okay, we're going to make a merch store. We're going to be selling anti-robot merch, baby. Let's check this out. Let's see what they recommend.
Without some or all of these items. A balaclava and sunglasses to avoid targeted attacks through facial recognition. Flares to give off a bright heat signature that confuses thermal imaging. A small powder-based fire extinguisher to create a dust cloud that can cover sensors.
Love
and
it.
create a smoke screen.
Genius.
A high-powered LED light or laser to confuse camera and LiDAR sensors. A paintball gun or water balloons filled with paint to blind them. A
Nice.
sturdy
Paintball
rope
gun,
throwing
baby.
net to
See, isn't that funny? Like a paintball gun might actually be more effective than a dang old AR-15.
entangle its limbs. Or a strong fishing magnet with a rope to snap to the dog's body.
Ooh, I have one of those that I use, a neodymium magnet like that on a rope that I use for tool retrieval, because every now and then when you're working on a house, you drop a tool between the joists, and instead of crawling down into the crawl space, you just drop one of those. Or I've dropped them in the water too. That was my impetus for getting one of these. I dropped a pry bar in the water and actually stripped down, dove in the water, and got it. Had to dive about 6 feet down to get it. I was like, dang, I wish I had a magnet on a rope. Anyway, now I have one in my truck that I carry around on jobs. But anyway, apparently this is really powerful and good for a robot dog attack.
Body and tie it down. Although effective, these tools are not
Although effective, not guaranteed to work. This video is hilarious. Well done. You guys go subscribe. I'm going to give, you know what? I never subscribe to YouTube channels because they earned a subscribe. Go check out Hoog. They earned my subscription today.
guaranteed to work. If you still cannot shake it off, use these distractions to make it to your primary safe zone.
I'll even give them a
They will
thumbs up.
likely follow you there. A safe zone is a location within your neighborhood or immediate surroundings that you are familiar with.
Hold on.
They will likely follow you there. Distractions to make it to your primary safe zone.
Your primary safe zone.
They will likely follow you there. A safe zone is a location within your neighborhood or immediate surroundings that you are familiar with. If possible, it contains access to fresh water and has amenable food stores inside or around the vicinity. It is important to note, no place is safer than any other. The risk is as great in the countryside as in the city. Although you might panic and try to move, we advise against this. You are just as safe in your home as anywhere else. No one will know where the safest place will be. In fact, you are far better off at home because it is the place you know and where you are known. If you move...
Oh, that's all good advice. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There is no guarantee others will open their doors for you. I repeat, you are better off in your own home. During an attack, however, turn off heat sources like camp stoves and extinguish small cook fires. If you live in a house, a bungalow, or prefab, the safest place is the basement. If you do not have a basement, choose to stay in a room far away from the roof, outside walls, doors, and windows. Dogs armed with rocket launchers, flamethrowers, or assault rifles may be able to penetrate these, especially if they are working together in a...
If you have a horde of rocket launcher robot dogs at your doorstep. See, that's why, okay, that's the whole point of this show. That is the point of this show. A year from now, we need to have an answer to that. Okay, this is episode 1 of BOTSTOPPERS. In the comments, let me know what you guys think. 1 year from now, this is a mission. We need to have a definitive answer. How do we stop an army of robot dogs with rocket launchers that are at your doorstep? If we cannot answer that question, then there's no point in doing this show. We will find a solution to that question, okay? Mark my words. We will. Stick around, folks. Stay on this journey with me because right now we're all watching this befuddled, and everybody watching this video wouldn't know where to turn. That's the point of this show, is we're going to answer that question as to what we would do in the event of a whole pack of robot dogs with rocket launchers on their back at your door. We will be able to disable all of them. That's the answer we're looking for.
Swarm. To make sure that they do not get inside, however, we suggest building some or all of these anti-QRA booby traps and obstacles around your safe zone. Slippery surfaces.
Okay.
It has difficulty walking and may fall on slippery surfaces.
Nice. Look at that. Very remedial, very effective. A slippery surface at a 45-degree angle. They can't just walk over it. They'll be stuck outside. Genius. This is what I'm talking about. These are the solutions we need to root out. We need to come up with a very, just a very practical protocol for stuff like this. And you guys may think I'm crazy. This video is satire. It's so good. The genius behind this video is you can tell it's kind of tongue-in-cheek and a little bit, it's like just 1 degree outside of reality. That's the genius of it, is that it is satirical, you can kind of tell, but it's almost indistinguishable from a very, very serious video. That's why, I mean, this speaks to me on a very deeply profound level as a appreciator of comedy and this topic in general. This is great.
Surfaces. Smooth materials like metal roofing sheets or plywood covered with a plastic tarp will work for this. Erect these at an angle, facing away from your safe zone, around major entry points. Make them slippery by using lubricants, oils, fats, or grease. Even sand or dust can work for this. Cords. It cannot detect cords until it's too late. Place
Okay, yeah, that's a bold claim, but okay.
these strategically around your safe zone in a loose nest to entangle limbs or tied between 2 stakes as a tripwire.
Ah, tripwires. Now we're talking tripwires, baby.
Short, unstable objects. It may not automatically avoid unstable objects that are less than 30 centimeters above the ground and may fall by stepping on such objects.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Now we're talking, folks. This is what Bot Stoppers is all about right here, baby.
Fill the perimeter of your hideout with plenty of trip hazards like sticks, wires, and other trash. Mirrors. Transparent, mirrored, or very bright surfaces can confuse its camera and LiDAR sensors. Place these around entryways to hide them. Moving surfaces. Moving surfaces such as escalators, walkways, vehicles, and boats can disrupt its walking system. Moats or pits. If your safe zone allows you to dig a deep moat or pit around it, do so. Ensure the walls are straight.
There you go. We need to build a moat, folks.
At least 2 meters deep.
I should offer a moat digging service. That'll be for all of the premium subscribers. You get a discount. All the premium Substack subscribers, you get a discount on Scotty's moat digging service.
And over 1 meter wide. They can jump up to 1.5 times its body length. A chain link fence. Although it could be cut, melted, or blown up, a chain link fence could slow down a swarm considerably. If none of these deterrents have worked, you cannot escape and are in immediate danger, move to the final step. Fighting it should be an absolute last resort.
That's a good point, okay? So a lot of these things that I've been tossing around in my head in relation to the show Bot Stoppers all involve this final stage of fight. Okay, what are we going to do when we actually have to have a physical confrontation with one of these things? Okay, so that's great. Back it up a little bit. How do we stop them before we get to the point where we have to fight them?
If you do not have a gun, get behind it, then quickly grab the handle underneath and yank it forward to disable the battery. Exercise utmost caution.
I mean, is that really? I mean, this is just one model theoretically. So we'll do deep dives into each model, figure out how they work and how to disable them. We'll do a whole series on that.
Keep your hands away from the joints. They will crush your fingers if you are not careful. Alternatively, find the motor lockout button located behind the robot and press it. This will physically disconnect the motors, rendering the robot inactive.
Okay, we'll find all the dead man switches on all these damn things too.
If you are unable to get that close, grab a long, blunt object like a sledgehammer.
We'll sell sledgehammers too, baby.
And wish yourself luck. If you have access to a gun, aim for its battery pack. Do this with caution. If ion batteries are pierced, they can start a self-oxidizing fire that is very hard to extinguish. As the battery packs on military-grade QRAs are armored, this may not always work.
See what I'm saying? I think we've already, with these first-generation robots, we've already surpassed the ability to where conventional weapons are even possible as a means of self-defense. So we need BOTSTOP. We need this conversation right now, guys. We need it.
In this case, target its other weak spots, including sensors, joints, and motors. However, the likelihood of having to fight a robot dog can be greatly reduced by choosing your hideout location carefully. Stay hidden. Avoid movement during peak patrol periods.
Peak patrol periods.
If you have followed all of the steps in this video, you could manage to survive for a long period of time.
Well done, Hoog. Bravo. That was good. That was good. And I'm going to leave it right there for today, you guys. So that was a fantastic first episode. I'm very excited about it. Please share your friends. Let people know Scotty Boy's got a new show in town, and it's pretty awesome. And I'm very excited. I've already got some stuff. Got some stuff I left on the table this time around. We will pick it up next time. So I've already got a whole bunch of stuff for you. And if you guys see any crazy stuff, go to Rebunked.news. That's the Rebunked News Network link tree right now. Join my Telegram. You can join the Telegram chat. Feel free to send me stuff. That's the best way to get a hold of me. I'm in the Telegram chat all day, chatting with the people. So send me a message if you guys see any cool reels or any information, whether it's robotics, AI, or AI weapon systems on how to fight back. Come join the chat. It's t.me/rebunked chat, and t.me/rebunked news is the main where I post. But if you go to the chat, then you can go in there and chat with all the people. So Rebunked.news, join the Substack, support the affiliates at the bottom of the page, and order some shirts. Go check out my music, rebunkedrecords.com. And of course, follow, I'll get used to this. Yeah, there you go. Follow all the new socials on BOTSTOPPERS. I don't have a lot of content up right now, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok, it is all at BOTSTOPPERS. So come give us a follow, join the journey. This is going to be a lot of fun, you guys. I'm really excited about this. So, all right. Until next time, stay free.